Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes.
Racks on a surf, dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo.
Hey everybody, welcome to the QuiverCast, where we chat with surfers from all around the world, from all walks of life, and we get their story. Find us at www.thequivercast.com. I am Mike, your host. Let's get into the show. Hello, everyone. This is Mike here with the QuiverCast. And I got a super special guest all the way from Australia, two-time world longboarding champ and multiple Australian titles, Harley Ingleby. How are you, Harley? Thank you so much for doing this.
Very well. Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Did you surf today?
I did get a quick surf. We've had a couple of flat days, like probably the smallest 2 days I've seen on my local beach for a couple of years. And so this morning there was a little bump, so I had to jump in.
Yeah. Actually, where do you live in Australia?
I'm at Emerald Beach, so it's just a little bit north of Coffs Harbour on the east coast.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so like maybe hour and a half, 2 hours south of Byron Bay. Everyone sort of knows where Byron is, so it's just a little south of there.
Yes. Are your waves comparable to Byron?
Yeah, we don't. We've got a couple of point breaks, not probably quite as classic as the Pass or Broken Head or Lennox, but yeah, we're pretty blessed with a lot of good back beaches and a lot of beaches that face different directions. So it's a really consistent little zone, but yeah, maybe not so world class all the time, but very fun.
First question is on your Instagram. The waves you're getting are super fun, like super peaky, like beach break, right?
Yeah, a lot of beach breaks. Yep.
Dude, but you get them all the time good and no one out. How's that?
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of choices down here, a lot of little beaches that all face different directions. And, you know, if you kind of avoid the main car park locations, you can definitely get a lot of surf to yourself, which I typically try and do whenever possible, for sure.
Yeah. Are you hunting that down, or do you kind of check the swell and know where to go? The winds?
Yeah. After chasing it for so many years, you definitely know the swell direction and wind combos, and you've always sort of got a few options in your mind of where potentially could be good in any given conditions, and sort of usually start at the closest one, or if I've been keeping an eye on particular banks, if the banks are particularly good somewhere, you'll go straight there. But yeah, usually don't have to travel too far, but yeah, I sort of probably roam from about 45 minutes south of my house to sort of 20 minutes north of, and sort of in that zone there is a real lot of spots to sort of to hunt surf.
It's always good. I mean, all your clips. So who's videotaping you?
Different friends.
Okay.
Yeah, just whoever I can, and yeah, obviously use GoPro quite a lot.
Oh, do you?
Stuff like that as well. But yeah.
Let's talk about your clips and the waves, and mostly I want to talk about is your board selection. So, are you bringing? How many boards are you bringing on a given day? Are you checking the swell before you grab the boards, or do you always have like a certain amount of boards in the car?
Not a certain amount necessarily. Like if I know that there's head high surf and I've got a new whatever board, obviously it's just in there. But yeah, I've got a van, so they've usually always got sort of 3 to 5 to 10 boards, depending on whatever's going on. But yeah, usually I've got a few at least, for sure.
Okay. Do you have a family car too, or does everyone drive in the van?
I've just got the 2 seats in the front and one single captain's chair behind my seat. So there's just the 3 seats, which is big enough for my little family.
You got to take the boards out when you guys are going on a little family outing?
No, there's plenty of room for the boards to be in there as well.
Oh, that's funny.
I've got roof racks on top, but I rarely have to use them.
Okay.
Enough room in the car.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about some of your boards you're riding. You surf well on the short board. You still surf well on mid length and everything. You're ripping.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, I mean, I grew up on everything.
Okay.
Dad made me my first couple of boards, and they were like soft rail, single fins, but like 5, 6, and 7 foot kind of thing. And then quickly after that, obviously got me on a thruster as well, short board. And yeah, I guess having Billy Toll, I think I started riding for Bill Tollers when I was about 13 or 14. And he obviously has been such a massive influence as well on me. And he always rode everything really, really well. Longboards, shortboards, fishes, everything. And yeah, my dad's obviously collected boards my whole life. So I sort of grew up with the history of Australian surfing literally above my head. So I sort of always had an open mind to surfing and all that. Yeah, I'd say I've shortboarded. I shortboard more than I longboard.
Okay.
My whole life, but I've literally always done everything. Just I'm into all of it.
Okay.
For sure.
So how hard today is it on the transitioning boards? Is there like a couple ways you got to get your feet in first, or or can you just go?
No, usually, yeah, just go. I actually really enjoy the transition from board to board. I kind of find if I ride the one board for too many surfs, I start to get a bit stale on it. Whereas,
Okay.
I don't know, I think just chopping and changing my whole life, it's second nature, and I kind of, you're kind of already in your head if you're going from a short to a long or long to a short or whatever, you're going, all right, well, I know this is what it's going to do better. And you kind of, I don't know, subconsciously you're already allowing for that and go, all right, well, I know, for instance, if you're going from long down to short, you know how easy it's going to be to turn and stuff like that. So you don't have to push too hard and you just sort of let it happen. And, I don't know, I feel like, yeah, just sort of play to the strengths as long as you don't try and overdo it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
And you're talking about your dad. So your dad's an avid surfer. Does he still surf?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he doesn't surf as much as he should. He definitely has. He's being retired. He could be out there every day, but he's getting a bit fussy. But no, he definitely still surfs well.
Is this the area you live in now? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah. No, born and raised in this area, and yeah, mum and dad only live like a block or so away. So yeah, haven't moved far.
So you don't go pick him up. You don't pick him up on the way out in the mornings?
No, I'm usually probably looking at my second surf by the time he's getting up.
Oh,
I'm an early riser. He's not so much.
Okay, all right. You were saying your dad's a collector of boards. Does he still have all those boards?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. There's a little over 100 boards in the house.
Wow.
In the family home. Yeah. Plenty under the house that are sort of to be restored and all that stuff as well. So,
is he restoring them all?
Yeah. He's generally, Yep.
Okay.
He generally does whatever they need, kind of thing. Yeah.
And is he focusing on Australian shapers, or is he going like international?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No, I mean that was just what he set out to do at the start. Like he's always into me. If I'm ever heading to the States, he's always into me to look for specific old males and whatever, anything that could be something I don't typically have access to here. But yeah, I guess he started collecting when I was about 1 or 2 years old. There was an old hollow ply that was about to be pulled apart and thrown on a fire for a barbecue.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you can't do that. It's sort of part of Australian history. If I get some firewood, can I have it? The guys go, of course. So he grabbed this board and put it back together, and then he, sort of set him on a bit of a warpath of like, how often is stuff like this happening, and obviously seeing what Groms were doing, like cutting down old males and stuff to try and make shorter boards or hacking away at fins and things like that. And he's just like, he just kind of set out to just preserve, like just try to get one of everything of the main designs through our surf history. And he definitely could have cleaned up a lot more boards if he wanted to take on everything, but he was just trying to get a good representation of all the good brands and shapers and anything particularly obscure or whatever. He was just always into all of that.
Right on.
And whenever the opportunity came to like get a better version of something that he already had, he'd always trade it up or whatever. But it wasn't necessarily about trying to get the most boards he could get. But yeah, he definitely has a few.
Okay. Is he looking for like historical boards, like maybe a board that was used during like a Pipe Masters or something, like maybe a Kelly one on, or is he just going for just shapers?
I mean, all the boards
Yeah.
pretty much have, but both, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
both for sure. We don't have too much of that sort of stuff, but mostly it's particular shapers or designs and stuff like that. But obviously, if anything like that pops up, he would grab it for sure. He's not, like I said, he's not really actively collecting too much, but if things, especially now how expensive a lot of them are, people know what they're worth and all that, so it's sort of a lot harder these days. But
yeah, definitely.
But he still picks up the odd board.
Yeah. When he started, it was probably a lot easier.
Oh, mate, they used to literally, like, so many of them he got for nothing, or maybe a carton of beer, or like, I guess a lot of them too were like, you'd see someone down the beach with an old mal and they were like struggling, trying to learn to surf on it.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, I just wish I had a good normal, it was just under their dad's house, and they're just like, I wanted to try surfing. And like, if I give you a good new board, a performance board you can learn to surf on,
switch it out.
And they're like, of course, 100%, like kind of
heck
thing.
yeah.
I know he picked up some that way as well. And
Is he gonna do what is he gonna do with these boards? Are they gonna be yours eventually, or your daughter's?
I hope so.
Does he have a game plan?
No, he has. I don't think he has any intention to sell them for his retirement or anything like that. I think he definitely wants it to stay in the family as possible. So, yeah, for sure.
All right. You got room in your house for all those boards eventually? I know it's a long time away. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. It's I have no idea. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I might have to sell my house and move into their house just so the boards can stay where they are.
That's funny. Okay, so back to your riding shortboards. So you mostly ride shortboards, and do you ever?
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
When you started competing, were you competing in all the divisions, the longboard division, shortboard division, or were you mostly shortboarding?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely went through stages. I think from a really, really young age, my first events were just going along to the Woolgoolga Longboard Club, which is our local club.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So they were probably my first events. And then, sort of as I turned into a teenager, started surfing in, the local shortboard board riders as well, going away team events, whatever, and all that sort of stuff. But it wasn't really until after, and I was doing okay in the shortboard stuff, like definitely getting results on a regional level, whatever. But I just found it, especially once I kind of finished high school or got to the end of high school, I really was enjoying the longboard events, more so just from the travel and the bunch of mates that I've made on that side. It wasn't really about what I was getting better results on or anything like that. It was more just, I was having more fun traveling with the longboard crew, and it was just more of a big family unit and no ego and just, good time. So I kind of just gravitated that way, and sort of didn't really, and I guess that was kind of when the junior series and heaps of those things were just kicking off, and you kind of needed pretty decent sponsorship to, be able to afford to chase all those events. Or if you wanted to have a go at the QS, for example, you sort of needed a fair bit of money, as you still do.
Yes.
And I kind of just, I've always worked in the surf industry my whole way through my career, pretty much. So it was always just that happy balance of being able to travel and compete and have a good mixed balance of life, really.
Do you think the at least in Australia, I guess you can speak for, but basically you've been all over the world. Do you think the longboard culture is a lot more laid back and less cutthroat than the shortboard divisions or the surfers in general?
I would say probably for the most part. I think it just goes through stages. I think it depends on what area you come through with or whatever. But definitely when I came through, it was a lot more ego and cutthroat. It felt like when I was, at least in the crew I came through with, a little bit on the shortboard stuff.
Okay.
At least that was sort of my interpretation of it, experience with it. But and sort of the longboard crew was sort of had you'd go away to a longboard event like a pro-am down here or whatever, and you'd sort of be surfing as a junior, and you'd see like literally the guys who were the world champions at the time, or top 10 of the world longboard circuit were at the same events, and so you kind of got to know these guys from a young age, and as soon as you turn 17, 18, they were, inviting you to come travel with you and stuff like that. Like, my experience was just, the best guys in the world were like, yeah, come on this trip, come, travel, let's go do this next comp or whatever. And it was just like, man, imagine that if you got that kind of treatment on the shortboard side, it'd be as if you're not going to chase it as a up and coming kid, kind of thing. So for me, that was it. It was sort of an absolute no brainer. Just wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on why there is a difference like that?
I don't know, mate. I mean, it's probably so many layers to it, I guess.
Okay, but,
I think that, I don't know. I don't know, just longboarding as a whole, it has always been so much more family orientated. You kind of, it's good for, often the waves aren't super consequential.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone can get anyone can get waves on them.
Yeah.
A lot more so. And I think just the pathway and event structure, like I said, with having pros and under 16s through to over 70s and pros and everything in between, all the same events. I think that was just such a good way for the like I said, the up and comers just to see the pathway and get involved.
Yeah.
And it's never such a big burden either. It's not like you have to go commit to your family. You have to drop everything and like push you around the world or the country to sort of make something of it too. Sort of versus the shortboard tour sort of thing. So it wasn't such a monstrous commitment.
Okay, so that was one of my questions for later on. But since you're here, let's talk about that. The World Longboard Tour, the WSL version of it. What are your thoughts on that on today? Yeah,
I mean it's great. They this previous year, watching Harrison win, like they finished that event in insanely good longboard waves, and watching Harrison win was incredible. He surfed so well. But I don't know. It's kind of hard. I guess I came from a different era of it when there was a bit more money in longboarding, sponsors like clothing brands and stuff throwing money at us to travel and stuff, which is a lot harder to come by now. And, the minimum prize money for our events was like $80,000 US.
Yeah.
You kind of could come last. You could kind of come last and probably cover your airfares anywhere in the world for the most part.
Yes.
And stuff like that. Whereas now you're kind of going to come second or third to maybe make that same amount of money. It's like pretty tough. I guess for me, like if I was still wanting to have that burning desire to try and win another world title, I'd probably still be chasing it. But for me, I don't know, having a, new family and all the rest of it. I've kind of been there, done that. I've done it for well over 10 years. And, for me, I'm just like, oh man, I've sort of been to those same beaches my whole life. It feels like I kind of want to, if I've got a lazy 15K to spend on travel, I kind of want to go to some bucket list locations that I've never been
of course.
to.
I get that.
And just go experience new things. So I'm just in a different part of my life right now. But I don't know, just not having as long a waiting periods and some of the locations, although it seems like they might be getting the locations a little better now, but it was pretty hard to justify there for a few years, those last few years, I reckon, financially.
Okay. So do you think the tour is better now or then?
I think it was better back when I started.
Okay.
With Oxbow behind it. And, like I said, the opportunities and just longer waiting periods and better money. And, I don't know. It just seemed like it was a bit more thriving back then.
Okay. I would agree.
Hopefully they can build it back up and do it. But it just feels like it's been in a long patch of like, waiting for it actually to build up, kind of thing. So do
you have any thoughts on why that is?
No, I don't know.
You don't know.
It's I'm sure it's so many things. Yeah.
Well, my thoughts on it, I mean, actually, if you look at it, and we don't have to have this conversation, but there's more people longboard technically probably throughout the world than shortboard. And there's a lot of...
Yeah, for sure.
It just doesn't make sense that they put it on, like, it seems to me that WSL puts it on the back burner kind of. It should be its own.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely needs to have its own thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, definitely there's so many brands that come to WSL that are wanting to get into surfing for the lifestyle aspect of it. And we're kind of more seen as that side of the sport. So it is a bit hard, like a lot of longboarders talk about this. It is pretty hard to swallow. I know Joel's brought it up, not pretty recently and stuff, and we're all aware of it, and we've all been aware of it for a long time. That longboarding is definitely very aspirational to a big proportion of surfers out there, and it is a shame that doesn't filter down.
It doesn't
from the sponsorship side so much. So
right.
Hopefully they sort of see it, and if they can get the structure of the tour right and stuff, and maybe they can build their business better if they do that. But it sort of remains to be seen for sure.
Yeah, right on. But the state of longboarding is huge, and even in your local area, I mean, so the guys surfing at the local beach break or whatever in your house, what's the ratio of surfers, like shortboard versus longboard or mid-lengthers? Like, is it kind of evenly out, or does it swing
think this morning, if I took, it usually just depends on the conditions. Like I guess growing up where I have, it just depends. Like this morning was just sort of chest high, just sort of long rolling waves, and you far and away would have been outnumbered if you were on a shortboard. There must have been, I don't know, it would have been 90%, mid-length longboard type surf boards, and a sprinkling of shortboarders very much on the inside, picking off what they could, kind of deal. But you come to the same beach next week when there's a bit more swell running, it would probably be the other way around. It just depends on the swell. But
are people in your area, are they switching boards around like you do, or do you think it just brings out different people in the water? Does that make sense?
I think it's definitely a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like a lot of the surfers I saw in the water this morning, I don't see at the front beach super often, but I like a lot of the typical locals I do surf with every day. They generally have, I'd say half of them probably have like a mid-length to a shortboard in their quiver, or like a good variation in their quiver. There's not too many guys where I say that are just staunch straight shortboarders, but there are obviously. But I would say most guys have at least like a twin fin or something in their quiver that gets them going and gets them excited on a smaller day. But
kind of mix it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to you saying you were hanging out with the longboarding club and stuff, and when you're a teenager, and who are some of the guys you were looking up to?
Oh man, there's so many guys. I guess my earliest big inspiration on the longboards was guys like Jared Morrell and Darren O'Rafferty. I think when I was probably 13, 14, like they're obviously really well-known shortboarders. Yeah. And had massive shortboard careers. But, growing up in my region, I just used to see them as sort of 16-year-olds, a little bit older than me, and they used to absolutely crush it on the longboards, just like such good styles and, world-class kind of thing. And then the next layer above those guys is sort of like also in my regions like Ian Bell and Dave Simons, who were like world tour longboarders for a long time. And then, obviously all the other guys like Jai Burns and GT and all those guys, they were sort of always around at all the same events and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were all very much up there. Bo Young, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I used to see him at events quite a lot when I was younger and stuff. So, they were probably my early influences on the longboard side. And obviously watching videos and stuff, obviously, of the guys overseas. It was, for me, like watching guys like Bonga and what he was doing in Hawaii at the time, like that was just like the pinnacle of it for me, growing up, just, kind of deal. Okay. And, just knowing that those guys from my region were going to Hawaii most winters too and having a crack and stuff like that. So it was pretty rad. It was a good time to grow up in the sport for sure.
And who are some of the shortboarders you're looking at that era?
Oh man, I guess I grew up, like I said, I shortboarded more than I longboarded, but pretty much just like watched all the momentum generation stuff. Right. So obviously Kelly and, all those guys in the early days, it was just, and all still, of course, the guy's the man, but, and then all Gainey's movies like Pulse and stuff like that. So Australian sort of underground guys, sort of all the good sort of rock and punk tunes on both those guys' film series. That was a big influence on my sort of teen years as well, and still,
At what point did you decide you want to go, like, I'm going to turn pro, like I can make something out of this? Or did you go in the mindset of it's just going to be fun and we'll see how it goes?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think one of my very first ever pro events,
Uh-huh.
I think I was 17 maybe. I drew Bo Young and
Ooh.
a couple other guys, and Bo was just fresh off a world title.
Yeah.
And it was bad surf, don't get me wrong. Like it was what it was. But I ended up beating him in my first heat.
Ooh.
Kind of thing. So that was a very, very big confidence booster at a very early part of my career. Early part of my career.
That's right.
And again, it was probably nothing more than the luck of the ocean, and it was pretty slow and small at what he goes that day. But
but still.
But anyway, it helped.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then my first year on tour, it was at Biarritz Festival when Joel won, I think, his second world title. Pretty good waves, and I don't know, I just had such a good time over there, and everyone was just so legendary and welcoming and all that. And I don't know, I just had so many people saying, dude, like, 'cause I wasn't seeded that year. So I just start from like the round of 350 odd people or whatever it was. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I had to surf 5 rounds before I didn't even make it to the rounds where all,
the main
all
event.
Aussie boys were all seated. Yeah, main event pretty much. I had a shocker in one and lost out. But yeah, so that was that. It was just a really, really fun week and just an amazing experience. And then my next year, I think I'd won the ALC or managed to get a qualified spot through the QS in Australia and had my first real go on the tour, and I finished 3rd.
Oh, wow.
So that was like and then I guess from that point I was just like, all right, now it sort of kicked off a little, internal fire of like, holy crap, maybe I can win one of these things sort of deal. So yeah, it was just that, I guess, probably pretty fortunate, just had pretty early success at the top level. And just again, not having to commit to only being like sort of 3 or 4 events back then, and having working at a surf shop that was very much, supportive and everything like that. I could come and go, and, living at home still, had the money to travel and all the rest of it. So it was amazing times, and it kind of just snowballed from there, really.
Did you become super serious about it, or were you always kind of like kick back about it?
Not so much. No, I think I was pretty relaxed about it. Like I was never one to be at home furiously training. Like I've barely ever stepped foot in the gym in my life. I've just always surfed every day. But for me, just surfing every day. And to be honest, too, like, people would be into me. They're like, aren't you going away to a contest next week? And I'd be out there shortboarding at home kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like I'd always, or just riding other equipment, but I always, like I said, I just always found for me I was better as long as I was excited to be surfing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel like I'd be surfing well no matter what I jump on. So I feel like if I try and make it happen on the one type of equipment for too long, I just get stale. So for me, just not overdoing it on any one board and just keeping the excitement levels high, whatever. So for me, that was my training for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, that was some of my questions you answered already, so that's rad, because you weren't taking
it fun for sure.
Yeah, so you're just keeping it fun. That's rad. Do you think some of the other longboarders were looking at you going, this guy's got something going on? Like it maybe
I don't know.
It changed their perspective? Yeah, I guess you don't know.
I don't know. They obviously weren't telling me what they were thinking, but I know that like coming through, I was probably one of the few guys who was more shortboard than longboard.
Okay.
That rode shortboards at home more than I rode longboards. I dare say there wasn't too many guys that were doing that.
Yeah.
But again, I just literally rode longboards and shortboards since I can't even remember. So it didn't really matter for me what to ride. But
what about
the equipment? That was probably the other thing.
That was my question.
Just having, Billy Toller, obviously he's just freaking world class shaper, designer, incredible surfer in his day, and just sort of having his knowledge. I didn't really realize how lucky I was to sort of have him in my corner until sort of the last 5 or 10 years. Obviously, you can really see it and appreciate it for what it was. But I guess just always having incredibly good equipment since the start too is pretty, took a big part of the equation out of it. That's for sure.
And were you changing your boards up? Like when you were going on tour, knowing where you were surfing, like were you bringing different equipment, or are you bringing several boards, or?
Not too much. I used to always sort of travel with 2 to 3 longboards and a shortboard, always, depending on the location. Whether I'd take 3 would be if it was somewhere that was going to be like Hawaii or somewhere solid. Yeah. You'd always take more than less, because you can break this was like pre Thunderbolt days, obviously. Like, man, they can break pretty damn easy in solid waves. So yeah, I would always just travel a few. But yeah, I used to, like, the designs I used to take would be pretty much the same board, just very slight tweaks. Sometimes I'd just take 2 of the same board. Bill always had a theory: if you have a board that works well in Coffs Harbour, it'll probably work everywhere in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
We kind of just make kind of deal. So yeah, anyways, but yeah, I never used to change my equipment too much on longboards. Other than maybe a slight extra width in one if it was going to be somewhere small, but never not to the point of having a inch wider or big single fin or anything like that. It was always pretty much the same board.
And you're talking about Hawaii a couple times. What are you riding when you go over there?
Pretty much just my standard, especially in those days, or competing, just my standard performance longboard. I think that was always the thing that's so good about a good 9-1 longboard is you can pretty much get into any waves. Yeah. You're not going to have a problem catching waves, which is sort of part of the problem over there for the most part. Yeah. And they have such a long rail that they hold. If you're standing in the middle of it, you've got so much rail behind your feet. And if you've got a balanced plan shape and a balanced rocker, like, they're not going to slide out necessarily if your rails and your foil's nice. So, they really can. I think, a good performance longboard, you can ride them in knee-high surf to, 5 times overhead, and they're going to work, kind of deal. So, yeah, and, I think the sweet spot for a performance longboard, I think, like, sort of overhead to double overhead faces, that's really when a 9-1 sort of comes to life kind of thing. I think when there's enough room for them to move, and you can really sort of draw your turns out. And they get loose. They get a bit looser once you get waves like that too. They're not hard to turn. Kind of deal. So it's not like you're riding an 8-foot gun kind of thing where they just go straight lines. Having that plan shape, little bit of plan shape curve and stuff. You can really sort of let go of some nice arcs if you've got the right canvas, for sure.
And what was your wave in Hawaii? Where were you surfing the most?
Oh, I don't know. I really enjoyed. I had some I guess my first couple of times to Hawaii in winter, probably the most memorable surf with a couple of longboard sessions at Harley Ingleby. Okay. I never really jagged a real good day at like pipe or backdoor. Every time I was there, I just didn't really score it, but would have liked to. But probably, it's just such a wild lineup to try and get a wave in, no matter what you're riding. But
yeah, no kidding. What about Sunset?
Had some really fun. Yeah, never really chased Sunset. I don't know. I was more like, I like that sort of more coming at you, peaky bowl, Haleiva style wave. That sort of more interests me, to be honest. But I probably should, like longboard. I think a longboard session at Sunset would be pretty good. But but yeah, I think Haleiva, I don't know, just the way that wave bowls, just all the speed and power in the world.
Yeah. In the middle of winter, I don't know. How do you get looked at when you're showing up on a longboard?
I guess I don't know.
Responding.
Yeah, I've always had good experiences. Obviously, just always surf over there with the utmost respect. Always, it's good anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. But it didn't hurt if you were turning up to the beach with the local boys. Obviously, surfing with Bonga and stay with Ned Snow a lot. He lived right up there on the North Shore, and surfing with Dwayne and all those guys, Dino. So yeah, I guess sort of certainly with those guys, and just waiting your turn. I've always had good experiences over there, kind of thing. But
right on.
Yeah. Also, love getting the shortboard out over there as well, and just hide in the pack and have some fun.
Did you like Harley Ingleby for a shortboard too, or are you going somewhere else?
Yeah. It's just a fun wave. Yeah, I mean, you surf.
It gets nasty there, though.
It
does get nasty.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, I don't know. I should stay over sort of more the western end of the North Shore a bit too. There's a lot of lesser known spots just to sort of surf a bit as well.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's an amazing part of the world for sure. Love it.
And the Wordle tiles, how they're kind of spread out. Were you going hard to get those, or did it kind of happen like naturally, organically when you got your world titles?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the first one
was like 09,
2009.
Right?
Yeah. 09 is the first one. Yeah, I think that was probably like 4th or 5th year in. And I kind of, like I said, I got third. My first proper year on tour, I got third. Yep. And then I think I had a couple of fifths or something like that. And then I think, the year before, so 2008, I think it was, I got second. So I sort of won the first event of the tour. I was leading the tour going into the final basically, and then lost it at Sano. And that was like, I was just like, oh my God, that was sort of really lit the fire of wanting it next level bad. Getting sort of leading the tour and then losing it kind of deal. And then the next year I ended up in 2009, I ended up in the same situation. I won the first event of the year. And I was like, oh my God, I can't let this happen again. kind of deal. And the pressure was, I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself that year.
Okay.
The second event was at Maldives, which kind of suited me. I think most of my good results come from on my backhand. Whenever we've had left-handers on tour, it was sort of when I did better. Generally, that was because the first year when I had the win, that second year it was Tahara was the first event in Japan, and that was a long left as well for the most part. And then obviously Maldives was past the point, and then second world title was Hainan, China, which is a long left point as well.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Yeah, my local break, I guess, is a left a lot of the time.
Okay.
I've always just loved my backhand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The second one just kind of happened. I don't know. It was a one event world title, the second one, so it was kind of just you have one good day and we were a world champ.
Yeah.
So,
do you like that
but
format?
Those first ones were definitely not so much.
Okay.
Like the first one meant more. Like the second one, 2014, I could appreciate it more for sure.
Yeah. You're a little older.
Exactly. And sort of realize, it doesn't really change your life. It's not like all of a sudden sponsors come out of the woodwork or anything. It doesn't really change your life or anything. The next day is just back to normal. But yeah, I really appreciated it. Appreciated the win the second time more than the first. But the first, there was definitely a lot more, the sport was bigger. There was like the QS in Australia. I think we had like 10 or 11 events a year, LQSs and stuff. It was like crazy how many events we had. And then it was, only 2-event world title at that point, but still it was a multi-event world title. You kind of had to do well at two, and it was equal weighting on the events. It wasn't like one event was worth more than the others. But I don't know. I do get why WSL are doing what they do now to get a guaranteed day that they crown a champ, but I'm not sure if it's the right thing for longboarding or not. Different if it was sort of like, I guess those guys have, I don't know, it's hard. It's sort of, even just watching the shortboard, it's such a tough one.
The shortboard, but they have more events to get in the top five, where the longboard doesn't have the events. So it's kind of, you really got to shine during those couple of events you do have. So it's
but even to the same token, I know. It's hard.
So you think accumulative points is better?
Yeah, I think so. Or like maybe even if the last event has more points, but it's not like
do or die.
The way the weighting of the point. Yeah, like the way the weighting of the points is, I think at the moment you can basically get knocked out first round or second round, and if you win Malibu, you win kind of thing. Whereas you could have a guy who's had kind of deal. So it's almost like those other events almost should be the QS almost. And it's like, yeah, surf the QS, and you can't really call it the World Tour almost if it's just 2 events and whatever. I don't know.
Have you ever done a QS?
Or one event title.
Have you done a
Shortboard?
QS for shortboard? Yes.
I think I've done it once or twice over in Taiwan when we just had the longboard titles
yeah.
as well as the shortboard QS.
Okay.
Yeah, I just did it for shits and giggles. But yeah, definitely, just took a whatever quad shorty, groveler just for fun, just had a surf because I was there kind of deal. But yeah, I've never really had a serious go at any QSs.
Okay.
But yeah, technically I've surfed 1 or 2.
Okay. Did you make any heats?
Yeah, I think I made a few heats, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
I mean, you surf well enough.
Couple of heats.
For sure. Is the mentality in your head of surfing a heat the same in a longboard, shortboard? Or do you have a different mentality?
Yes and no. No, I find, I don't know, just from competing on shortboards, I find when I go out in a shortboard heat, I surf differently to how I free surf. I guess too, like just the format of events now seems a lot better. Like I guess growing up, especially through board riders and so many events, you'd see it was almost like who could do the most turns to the beach was going to always get the score. Whereas now you can the way to get an 8, blow up on the critical sections. You only have to do 2 turns to get an excellent score nowadays, as long as you're doing, the legit surfing. Whereas, I always found I used to kind of find myself trying to bloody do board rider style surfing on the shortboard comps. Whereas on the longboard, I used to kind of just let the wave dictate it a bit more, which is, to be honest, I should have just been taking that approach to the shortboard comps, but for whatever reason I didn't. But anyway.
So now, how old's your daughter? She's young, but you have her in the water and you had her board shape for her, kind of like how you grew up doing?
Yeah. She just turned 3. Yeah, she just turned 3 recently. And Dad, same as mine. He shaped me my first board when I was 4. Yeah, the same deal, 5'6", soft rail, single fin. He hand shaped it, glassed it, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Little memento, something she'll hopefully have forever. I've still got my first board.
Oh, cool.
That Dad made. So yeah. So yeah, he was pretty quick, especially now that I've been learning to shape or finish boards, shape and design with Bill. I think Dad wanted to get in first and make sure that Harley's first board was from him and not me.
And how's that going? You getting in and getting your hands dirty? Yeah,
good. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. Not in there every day or anything, but and I've obviously been really, really into it and hands on with Bill with working on designs and stuff like that. But it was kind of like why bother learning to do it when you kind of got the master there to do it for you?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like right here. So, but he kind of came to me last year for a while ago and just said, "So, you're going to bloody learn this shit off me or what?" And I was like, "Oh, I probably should."
Yeah.
And so we just started on Aku, and he was just showing me, sort of teaching me the basics on design and stuff like that, computer designing, and run through that. And sort of got to a stage we were just emailing files back and forth, and I kind of got one to a point. He's like, "I reckon you should get that cut." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." So send it off, send off the file, and ordered a cut, just a 6-1 shortboard, just for the. He sort of didn't teach me everything. He wanted me to make a few mistakes so I could learn how to finish a board. Just dusting it off, send it off with glasses. Obviously, I didn't glass it.
Oh, okay.
Had it glassed. Yeah, just had to finish the shape off to it basically, and then ride it obviously. And as soon as I rode it, first couple of waves, I was like, "Oh, I already know what I've done wrong.
Okay.
A little bit too much rocker between my feet." And just a couple of little, minor tweaks with the foiling, the way I foiled the rails and stuff in the file. And he's like that. And straight away was like, "They're the 2 mistakes I'll let you make. I didn't tell you that I knew straight away." He knew before I knew, obviously, where I'd gone wrong with the files, but he wanted me to sort of do it and feel it and all the rest of it. So, and I've sort of just been going from there pretty much.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do enjoy it. I can't believe how much more I can feel the things in my boards now that I'm doing it myself than from just getting Bill's shapes, which is so surprising. Like I said, I've been super in tune with him and my boards my whole life. I don't know, there's just this different sort of layer or connection to it when you do it yourself. I think that I wasn't really expecting feel kind of thing. So I'm super happy with the way my shortboards are going, and I'm sort of dabbling with some. I hate to call them mid-lengths because they're only like 6'4" and 6'6", but sort of some mid-length looking boards I've been playing with lately as well. Just sort of a little bit more alternate stuff and a couple of quad fishes and things like that. Yeah, all in all, I'm super enjoying it. It's really rewarding for sure.
That's rad. Okay, actually, on one of your clips on Instagram, you're riding like this twin fin, like stretched out fish. I don't know how big it is. It's got to be like 9 or 10 feet. I'm like, do you know what board I'm talking about?
No, I'm trying to think. Oh, is it a soft top? Is it a crime soft top?
I don't think it is. I mean, maybe I'm not looking at it right now. It was like a big. Actually,
is it a twin keel? Like a massive?
Yeah, it's massive.
9.
Yeah.
That's the only big.
It's straight twin.
I think that's a crime fish.
Oh, okay. Dude,
if it's like 9 foot long and a twin keel,
it's super long.
I think that's the only. That's a soft top.
Oh, that's a soft top? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Thing looks fun. I love your variety of boards, and I just love the way you surf. What do you think about wave pools?
Hey, they're really fun, amazingly good fun. I've been to Urban Surf down in Melbourne a few times, and it's incredible. I was very fortunate to go to Kelly's pool once with WSL in the earlier days of that as well, and that was an incredible experience. Yeah, I mean, geez, as a training tool and things like that, next level for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you had access to it a lot, like what you could do with surfboard design, I think if you could have that amount of repetition in the same conditions, you could really feel some things out if you wanted to. I definitely think there's things that the ocean, like they just can't recreate that the ocean gives you, but
of course
they're definitely a lot of fun, and I think they're always going to have their place for certain things. Places like Melbourne, it's obviously a lot of surfers that have to live there for work, and one of my business partners, a guy I work with a lot, he lives there, and he sort of bounces between the surf coast and Melbourne, and when he's up there, at least he can get a surf a few times a week.
That's right.
I know it keeps him going. It keeps him going, and sort of deal. So I definitely think sort of stuff like that. It's pretty awesome.
And talking about Kelly's wave, it's a long wave, so it almost seems when I watched the longboard event there, I think it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year. The longboarders look like that wave looks better on a longboard than it does on a shortboard. Really, to me, watching it from television. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a perfect point break, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it's more suited, and just that size bracket, it's really well suited to alternate craft. I think as a whole, like more like fishes and anything that's like really gets up and goes fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. If I had free run at that place, I'd be very confused as to what I'd want to go play around on. If I had all my quiver there, for sure.
Oh, that's funny.
Because it is a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun on a shortboard. I did have one wave on my ACM, my 510 ACM out there, and it was God, you'd have so much fun in that place for sure.
Yeah, but once again, I would watch. It's hard to watch for me personally, watch the event with shortboarders because it kind of they're doing the same thing. Yeah. But the longboarders are switching it up, and it looks super fun to watch. It was fun.
Yeah, I think with a shortboard they need to change the format of it. Maybe like so there's 2 guys, you get a half wave each or something, and you sort of 2 guys doing their run at the same time. First half, second half, or whatever.
Yeah. I
don't know. There's got to be something they can do to like sort of mix up and make the structure of the event a little more exciting or something and stuff. But
anyhow,
a little air section halfway would be pretty good. Make them commit to something.
There you go. Which wouldn't really work for a longboard, actually. But anyhow,
no.
Right on. All right, Harley. Thank you so much for coming on the QuiverCast. It was super fun, insightful, and I'll put your Instagram handle on the show notes. Dude, your videos are the best. I mean, I'll watch the whole thing a couple times. You're surfing, especially the variety of the way that you surf and the ways you surf. It's super fun to watch.
I appreciate it, mate. And yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, no, I really appreciate it. So thank you again for joining us. Anyhow, everybody, this is Mike and Harley, and we're out of here. Thanks.
100 foot out choke food, 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out choke food, 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You boo on my didgeridoo. They calling me dude, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop. She grabbing a hold of my leggy. Play jelly, they Gucci my weddy. The friends of Giuseppe, the chain is so heavy, she think that I'm charging the Eddie. 100 foot out choke poo, 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out choke poo, 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. Surf trap, I'm stacking that money. Cash. More shorts, a red Ferrari. They start to calling me Dundee. Diamonds are surfing McFlurry. She want me to teach her to surf. Splash. I'm pulling up, ripping the verse. I'm leaving these kooks in the hearse. They get moved 100 foot on their head, they get work. 100 foot out, choke poo. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out, choke poo. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You calling me dude, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. They calling me dude, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop.
Hey, you guys, Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic, numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You will literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. So much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.